Yeah, there we go. I think we've got some audio now. So again, a brand new tornado warning. This is going to be for Tillman County down in southwestern Oklahoma. This is until 8:30 this evening. Let's go and take a look at this storm. This is a storm we've been tracking carefully, really for the last 45 minutes or so. Even when it was in North Texas, again, it's had a hook. And again, there's been at least an opportunity again for some type of a tornadic activity. And again, we've been tracking it again fairly carefully. But what I want to do, let's go and take a look at radar here. And again, this is going to be a tornado warning for our friends. This is far southwestern Oklahoma. And again, some of the towns that are going to be impacted by this. It's basically from Davidson to the east, all the way over through Granfield and Loveland. You folks are in the tornado warning, and I believe we have our team of trackers on the live line here with us as well. And Mike and Jesse, they've been down there in southwestern Oklahoma. Mike, if you're on the live line, go ahead and give us an update. Tell us what you're seeing, and then also let us know if your video's up as well.
Yes, William, our video should be up. We're on 283 right now. We're on the back side of the storm, William, and we're noting that this thing is still climbing. It's still pulling in a lot of moisture, and we're now cutting back into the east now, and we're going to be dropping onto the storm as fast as possible. But William, we were down there earlier. We just didn't have any road options, and William, we have
hey, Mike, from your vantage point, hey, Mike, from your vantage point, real quick, what are you guys seeing from there? We don't have a confirmed tornado on the ground. The Weather Service is just basically issuing this off of radar indications. Again, you guys are kind of our eyes on the ground, and we're looking at your video. We're looking at there. We see the base of the storm, and I know you're kind of a little ways away from it. So I mean, you're kind of having to thread hairs here just a little bit. But again, from your vantage point, what are you seeing with this storm? I mean, are you getting any reports of any actual tornadic activity down there?
We are not as of yet. However, again, we were down there right there with the wall cloud. We ran out of road options, and William, the wall cloud that we saw was very impressive. It had a lot of rising motion to it. It was pulling in a lot of moisture. William, I would not be surprised with what we were seeing earlier if this thing wasn't producing one or about to. At this point, William.
Yeah, no, I would agree, Mike. And again, we're getting a fairly strong indication here on radar that this storm, I mean, it's had a hook on it even in North Texas. So it's kind of what we would call a long-lived supercell. Again, it's been trying off and on to produce some tornadic activity. It really hasn't done it, which has been good as we've gone through the evening. But like we've kind of said throughout the evening, as we go over at least the next hour to 2 hours, as the low-level jet kind of starts to kick in a little bit more, there's going to be a little bit more of an opportunity for some type of tornadic activity. Again, that could be what we're seeing down here. Again, we don't have a report of an actual tornado on the ground, but again, we're getting strong indications here on radar that there could be some type of tornado genesis or some type of tornado genesis failure trying to happen basically right now. And this is important now for our friends in Davidson. It's really east of Davidson now. It's in a fairly rural part of Tillman County, but again, from Loveland all the way back down through Granfield, you folks, immediate tornado precautions. If you live in those smaller communities down there in southwestern Oklahoma, again, immediate tornado precautions. The other thing is, if you have friends, family, or loved ones who live down there in Tillman County, again, in some of the rural areas of Oklahoma, sometimes they're not able to get weather warnings, or they may not have sirens in a rural area where they live. So it's important that they get this weather information. This is a mean supercell, folks. This one means business. And again, it's if there's not a tornado on the ground, tornado genesis could happen fairly quickly. So if you have friends, family, or loved ones who live in Loveland, even back over through the Granfield area, you need to call them, you need to text them and let them know right now they need to be taking their tornado precautions. There's the hook, and that hook is wrapped up there, again, really just east now of the Davidson area. So that storm is basically right over the Frederick radar site down there. That's why there's kind of that donut hole looking thing right there in the middle. It's literally sitting right over, again, that radar site. But again, Mike and Jesse, part of our team of trackers, they're right down there on it. You're looking at their video there, again, on the right-hand side. And again, we're kind of taking the storm minute by minute, looking at live radar here as well. And again, I can tell you over the last really 2 to 3 minutes, the rotation continues to increase on this storm, Mike. It continues to come up. And again, as we continue to look at it, again, we're kind of at a bit of a disadvantage because the storm is literally sitting right over the radar site. So I'm kind of working up the beam here with some different angles as we try and take a look at the velocities within the storm. And again, as we look at basically reflectivity, again, you can see that hook coming around. But again, if you're just now joining us here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, tornado warning for Tillman County, southwestern Oklahoma until 8:30 this evening, Hollister, Loveland, Granfield, and everything in between, basically on Highway 70 to the north, immediate tornado precautions. Again, right now we don't have any indications of an actual tornado on the ground, but again, you know, there's a tornado watch in effect, and this is this Supercell. Again, it's had this hook basically since it's been across portions of North Texas, and again, the rotation is slowly but surely, it's kind of been churning up and churning up and churning up, and again, now you can see a very evident hook, and in fact, right now, this is really the strongest rotation we've had with this storm. So again, Loveland, Granfield, even Hollister, and again, basically Highway 70 to the north, any of those locations, rural areas through there, again, immediate tornado precautions. Don't take this storm lightly. Don't take this storm lightly at all. And again, we at least have an opportunity, again, for some, the possibility at least for some medium-sized tornadoes today. We've been saying that all day. Luckily, knock on wood, we haven't had any tornadic activity so far in Oklahoma. We've had some down in North Texas, but again, as we get into the evening, basically from 6 p.m. to right around 10 p.m., this has kind of been the prime time as the low-level jet and some other dynamics kind of happen, that again, the risk of some tornadic activity again is increasing again just slightly. So Mike, we're still looking at your video there. It may have froze there in time for just 1 second, but I know you guys are kind of closing in on this storm, getting a little bit closer. Go ahead and give us a live update. Again, tell us what you're seeing on this storm.
Yes, William. We're getting a little bit closer to it. That is correct. However, one thing we're noting is that we are seeing on the south side of the storm, we are seeing what looks like little feeder bands trying to feed into it, really feeding moisture into that storm. So it's still not anywhere near done. William, it's still very impressive. There's still a lot of motion out here, what we're seeing. And again, I would not be surprised. So if there's a tornado on the ground, we're trying to get there. I apologize to the viewers, but if I were in the Loveland or Granfield area, I'd definitely be watching and getting ready to get into your safe spot. This storm is definitely very active yet. And it's dumping a lot of rain. In fact, we had a softball-sized hail out of this storm earlier. It helped our truck pretty good, but we were trying to cut south, and we actually had to stop. We didn't want to.
Hey Mike, let me ask you this real quick. It looks like on your video, if you can, hey Mike Russ, on your video, if you can, you might want to go and try and refresh it. It looks like your video may have stalled for 1 second. We're going to get right back to your video. It may have stalled for 1 second. But again, the other important piece of information with this storm, folks, it is also the damaging hail potential. And I know the radar looks just a little bit weird right there. It's because it's basically sitting right over the NexRad site down there in southwestern Oklahoma. Down here, this is the Frederick NexRad site, so you kind of have that donut hole because that's where the radar site actually is. But this is a large hail core through here. And even for our friends over here in the Hollister area, this is an immediate heads up, even for damaging hail. Again, we've had some golf ball plus size hail with some of these storms as we've gone through the evening. So again, damaging hail also quite possible with these storms as well. But again, there's the hook. You see it coming around. And again, from Hollister all the way back through Loveland, all the way back down through Granfield. Again, Highway 70 to the north. Again, this is a tornado warning. Again, we don't have any confirmation of an actual tornado, again, on the ground. But again, we are getting some fairly decent indications that, at least on radar here, that again, this storm could be trying to produce some tornadic activity. And again, maybe trying to produce that again fairly quickly. And again, we've got our team of trackers down there. We're going to continue to check in with them. And in fact, we're going to talk again to Mike Russ. Mike, it looks like your video may still be locked up, so we'll try and kind of get that going. It looks like it might be kind of, at least right now, temporarily stalled out. But Mike, you're still on the live line with us. Go ahead and kind of still give us a play-by-play. It sounds like you're still approaching that storm there from the north. Go ahead and give us a live update. Mike, are you still on the live line with us? Okay, we may have temporarily lost him. Okay, Mike, go ahead.
We're actually still, we're catching up to it now. We're in the Tillman area. We're going to be dropping south towards the Frederick area and then on to Davidson. We are we are definitely trying to get back on it, but it definitely has a huge updraft area. William, you should be streaming now. I'm going to try to get the updraft into the view here, if at all possible. There you go. Excuse our antenna in the way. But you can definitely see the updraft area. It's still very predominant, very strong. So we're watching it. We are trying to catch up to it. Again, we ran out of road options, and we had to back off of the storm just to get back on it, William.
Okay, Mike, really appreciate that update. I know you guys are right there on it. We're going to continue to check in with you. We've still got your video up there as well. And so as we continue to look at this here, we're looking at radar here as well. And keep in mind, this is kind of right over the radar site. So some of the products we would normally use are a little limited only because the storm is sitting right over the radar. We'll go and take a look at velocities again here. We're going to kind of move the beam up a little bit here with height. And again, just because of the fact we're so close to it, we're not getting any really good indications. But again, just by looking at the structure of the storm, again, with that hook coming around, again, if you've lived in Oklahoma for very long, you know that, again, when you see a supercell with a hook, it means business. And again, with that tornado watch in effect, again, this storm here definitely means business. But again, from Hollister to Loveland, all the way down through Granfield, Highway 70 there to the north, again, for our friends down there in southwestern Oklahoma that live in those locations, again, immediate tornado precautions, they need to be taken. Again, we don't have a report of an actual tornado on the ground. You see our team of trackers, they're down there. They have their live video. They're looking at the storm. And again, if anything changes, they're going to let us know. We're going to get them right back on the live line. But again, even if the storm at this point in time, at this second in time, is not producing a tornado, it is more than capable of producing a tornado very quickly. So again, fast changing weather conditions, quite possible with this storm. But again, I just want to underscore again, Hollister, Loveland, all the way down through Granfield, Highway 70 to the north. Again, immediate tornado precautions. Tornado warning continues there again until 8:30 this evening. So for about another 20 minutes or so, again, down there in southwestern Oklahoma. So let me go and widen this out. And again, if you're not totally familiar with the part of Oklahoma we're talking about, again, we're talking about far southwestern Oklahoma. We have a couple other severe storms in the state. They're hailstorms. We're briefly going to cut away from the video. We're going to get right back to that. I just kind of want to give you an overview of, again, what's going on. We have a couple additional hailstorms. Again, even one on the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro. Then we have one down across portions of really southern Caddo County. And then again, we have our one severe and now tornado warned storm. Again, this is down in far southwestern Oklahoma. Ardmore being over here, Oklahoma City being right back up in there. Again, just to kind of orient you with where we're talking about. Let's go and put this into motion here. I want to kind of give you kind of the movie mode, so to speak, even for the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro. Again, just kind of a heads up again with this hailstorm. This storm, believe it or not, actually started down in North Texas. That's the one storm that produced some tornadic activity earlier. This has been a big time hail maker. It's now moving up into portions of Canadian County. Again, line of storms through here. And then again, like I mentioned, there's our one lone tornado warned storm down there in southwestern Oklahoma. So with that being said, let's go and get back to the video. Again, Mike, Russ, and Jesse, they're down there on this storm, our lead storm trackers there. And as Mike, we continue to look at your video, again, still kind of give us a play-by-play. I know you're catching up with it. You're getting closer to that storm. But again, tell us where you are, and again, kind of give us an update with what you're seeing down there.
Yes, William. We just got south of Tillman, Oklahoma right now. We're running kind of parallel to the back side of the storm at this moment. And one thing we're noting is this thing still has a lot of updraft motion to it. It's still a very impressive storm if you're on the back side of it at least. But again, if I were in the path of this storm, I would be watching very vigilantly and being prepared to take my tornado precautions, William.
absolutely does mean business. And again, even if it's not currently producing a tornado right now, again, it definitely has the potential to here over the next 20 minutes or so, as long as that tornado warning is in effect. So again, as we kind of widen out the view, the other thing I really want to emphasize as well, especially north of the Hollister area, there's a big hail core with this as well. And again, we've had some golf ball plus size hail with these storms as we've gone through the day. And again, that's quite possible even with this storm. As we take a look at the hail core tracker, you can see north of the Hollister area, those pinks going to white, that's the hail core. And anytime you start getting those whites and grays and basically off scale, there's no more colors left on the radar, that's when you're getting into the big hail. And again, right now that big hail core, it's going to be just north of Hollister and just east of Frederick. That's basically Highway 5 down there in southwestern Oklahoma. But again, if you're just now joining us on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, again going on 8:15 this evening, tornado warning in effect. This is going to be for Tillman County down in southwestern Oklahoma. And again, tornado warning in effect basically for the Loveland area through Granfield, Highway 70 to the north, even up towards the Hollister area. Again, right now, we don't have a report of an actual tornado on the ground, but again, this is a supercell that started in North Texas. It's had a hook the entire time, and again, the rotation has kind of come up and it's kind of eased down, come up and eased down, and it's kind of been at the brink of trying to produce some type of tornadic activity. And again, here over the last 15 minutes or so, it's basically back up to that brink. And again, the Weather Service, they did go ahead and issue that tornado warning on it. So again, right now, no confirmation of an actual tornado, but again, even if there's not a tornado on the ground right this second, again, that can change very quickly with the dynamics we have in place this evening, with the tornado watch in effect. Again, any of these storms, they're at least in an environment here over the next couple hours that they will be conducive for some type of tornadic activity. We're not going to say it's for sure going to happen, but again, the probabilities are there that it could happen. And again, with this tornado warning in effect for this storm, with the rotation continuing to increase in this storm, again, that's definitely something we have to keep in mind again down here in southwestern Oklahoma. So Mike, you're still in the live line. I know you may not have a lot of additional information to pass as you guys are closing in on this storm, but again, go ahead and give us an update, kind of give us a play-by-play. You're the eyes kind of in the field there actually looking at the storm, but again, tell us what you guys are seeing out there.
Yes, William. We're seeing a lot of low clouds, like dead clouds, that are still feeding into this thing like crazy right now. And we're just to the east of, or west of Frederick right now, and we're still seeing these bands kind of feed into it. So I know this thing is still ramping up. It's still going. Even if the tornado potential has gone down at the moment, it will ramp back up. These things are very much so almost living, breathing things. And this one is definitely still living. It's not dying out yet, William.
Yeah, we continue to track the rotation on it, Mike. The rotation, the good news is it's maybe come down a notch. The rotation has maybe come down a notch on this storm. That doesn't take away the imminent tornado threat with it, I can tell you that right now. But again, the rotation rate has come down just a notch with this storm. So that would be possibly some good news. But again, if I live down there in Tillman County, and again from Loveland to Granfield, Highway 70 to the north, all the way up through Hollister, again, I'm still taking my immediate tornado precautions right now. Again, with that tornado warning in effect, at least for another 15 minutes or so. We'll see what the Weather Service does if they decide to go ahead and extend that warning, or again, if they let it go ahead and lapse there at 8:30 rather. But again, regardless, this is still a mean supercell storm. And again, the reflectivity, even to the north, and again, keep in mind we're super close to the radar site. It kind of distorts the radar a little bit. We're looking at it from the Frederick NEXRAD radar site. This storm basically moved directly over the radar site. It's probably about 10 miles to the east of it now. But again, the other big story with this storm, folks, it is definitely the large hail core. That large hail core now north of Hollister, and again, it continues to lift to the north there up into portions of northern Tillman County. Again, definitely heads up with that. Again, there's definitely an opportunity again for some golf ball size hail plus with this storm. We've had some other storms this evening that have had histories of producing golf ball plus size hail, and again, this storm right here, it's definitely no different. And again, with the fairly vigorous spin within the storm, the mesocyclone, a lot of times that it really increases the hail sizes. And again, that's what we've seen as we've gone throughout the evening as well. But again, right now at least, again, that tornado warning in effect here for at least another 12 minutes or so, again, for Tillman County down there in southwestern Oklahoma. We're continuing to kind of analyze it here on radar, looking at some of our different radar products. Again, it's a little tough only because it's sitting right over that radar site. I'm looking at velocities here. I'm kind of tilting the beam up with height. but again, we're not getting a real strong indication there, again, just because we're so close to the radar site. But again, regardless, tornado warning continues down there. What I want to do real briefly, I want to talk about what's going on across portions of really the Oklahoma City metro now and far west central Oklahoma. We have 2 additional severe thunderstorm warnings. One of them here for Boone and Apache. This is going to be southern Caddo County. And again, this is going to be a hailstorm here. And there's going to be some large hail here, folks. And again, there's a pink going to white, and that's going to be just to the northeast of Boone. So again, this storm right here, this is also a big time hail producer. And again, this is going to be some damaging hail, basically coming into Highway 62 there around the Stecker and Apache area. So our friends in that part of the state, again, heads up, that's a big time hailstorm. Severe thunderstorm warning continues there. And also up here in really in the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro, severe thunderstorm warning, Minco, Union City, all the way up through Yukon now, including Mustang. And this is also going to be for a hailstorm as well. And again, there's going to be an opportunity for some $half plus size hail from Minco to Union City, and then potentially back over through Yukon. That is going to be coming directly on into the Oklahoma City metro, basically over Highway 81 right now, northern Grady County, rather southern Canadian County. So for our friends out there, heads up, that's another hailstorm. Again, do what you need to do to protect your property. You got to do it quick, but if you can protect your property, your car, bringing it to the garage, things like that, do it right now. From Mustang, Yukon, even the Bethany area, you have just a few minutes to do those things. But again, don't be caught outside with the lightning and the hail potential with that storm. Again, as it does continue to track on in there from the west. And then again, down here in southwestern Oklahoma, there's our one lone tornado warning in Oklahoma for Tillman County. And again, the video you're looking at there on the right-hand side of the screen, that's Mike Russ, our lead storm tracker. They're down there, him and Jesse, they're down there on that storm. And Mike, real quick, let's go and switch back over to you here on the live line. And go ahead and give us an update. I know you're getting just a little bit closer, but what are you seeing with that storm? What are some of the dynamics you're seeing down there?
Yes, William. We're now close enough that we're starting to see a wall cloud. I apologize for the camera here. We're trying to get it a little bit closer there. But we are seeing the wall cloud. We're coming up on the Frederick area right now. So this is going to put it just south and east of Frederick, Oklahoma right now that we're seeing it. So about the Hollister area is about where we're seeing it right now. But William, we're not seeing any funnels or anything like that at this time. However, it's still a very impressive wall cloud.
Yeah, this storm, it's had some good spin with it. I don't know if it's actually produced a tornado down there. It's had rotation. It's come up and come down. We've been tracking this all the way since North Texas. That's where the storm initially formed. The rotation rate for a while, it really did increase right as it moved into Oklahoma. I think it's easing on down some now. That's not to take away from the tornado warning. Anytime there's a tornado warning in effect, take your tornado precautions. Definitely not saying that, but just saying from a possible threat level here, it's maybe easing down just a notch. I think the rotation rate has come down just a notch. But with that being said, tornado watch is in effect until 10 p.m. And I can tell you just, even looking at the data, the different ingredients we look at, they're definitely in place through 10 p.m., if not later, that again, these storms, there's still a definite opportunity, again, for some tornadic activity. So this is not a storm to take lightly because, again, if for any reason this storm would go through tornado genesis and would produce a tornado, the size of the tornadoes today, I mean, we could have some medium-sized tornadoes. So again, definitely don't take this storm lightly. I know it's in a fairly rural part of southwestern Oklahoma, the areas it's moving through right now, but there's still folks that live down there. There's friends, family, loved ones that live down there. And again, even from the Loveland area back down through Granfield, in general, that's where the storm is tracking. Those are communities down there in Tillman County. And again, like I said, immediate tornado precautions definitely need to be taken, again, down in that part of the state. Not to sound like a broken record, but again, we just want to keep underscoring that, just motivating people, again, to take those tornado precautions. I know living in Oklahoma, a lot of times we'll get tornado warnings, the sirens are going off, and we're still looking out the front door and stuff. But again, with the kind of the dynamics today, it's better safe than sorry. We don't know there's an actual tornado on the ground, but with these type of storms, it's better to be in your safe place and again taking those immediate tornado precautions again really right now. So with that being said, let's go and zoom this out here. And again, what I want to talk about as well is the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro. Again, just real quickly, I don't want to take away from the tornado warning we have going on down in southwestern Oklahoma, but again, here in kind of the densely populated western sides of the Oklahoma City metro, we do have a hailstorm coming on in from Minco, Union City, all the way up through El Reno. Again, there's an opportunity for some half-dollar plus size hail. Winds may gust over 70 miles per hour. And again, in general, that's tracking towards Yukon, Mustang, Bethany. And again, if you can right now, do what you can, again, to protect your property again from those, half-dollar size hailstones. Those will do some damage. Again, so if you're able to bring your car into the garage real quick, if you have maybe some lawn furniture outside, bring it in quickly. These storms are electrically active. That doesn't mean, stay outside and take your time. You need to get what you need to get, do what you need to do, and get back indoors quickly if you live in the Mustang, Yukon, Bethany area. Again, these storms are quickly now approaching from the west. And again, these storms do mean business. In fact, this storm that's moving in on the western sides of the metro, this storm formed in North Texas and actually produced a tornado, 2 tornadoes down in North Texas. It's had a large hail core as we've gone through the evening. This is really a long-lived supercell. And again, it's now moving in on the western sides of the metro. The tornado threat's very low with that storm, but again, the opportunity for large hail, damaging winds, lightning, and again, localized flooding, again, is definitely there on the western sides of the metro. So heads up also with that storm right there. Now, what I want to do, I want to go back down to our tornado warned storm, and as we kind of slowly walk the line for our friends here in southern Caddo County, I don't want to forget about you. This is a big hailstorm here as well, folks. In fact, this is a really big time hailstorm. Basically between Apache and Stecker, that's a large hail core. There may be some golf balls associated with this storm, and that's basically right there along Highway 62. A lot of the activity we had, especially earlier in the evening, it did have a history of producing some golf ball size hail. We've had wind reports over 80 miles per hour this evening. So again, like I said, these are mean storms, and this hail core here, at least right now in Oklahoma, this is really the largest, most intense hail core there in the southern sides of Caddo County. So for our friends down in that part of the state, again, heads up, that's another mean storm. And again, that storm also means business. Again, here's our tornado warning. This continues here for another 6 minutes, basically right there around the Loveland area and also back over through the Granfield area. Couple things to look at on radar. I'm going to switch back over to radar full screen here. And this is the one thing we've notated really as we've gone throughout the day. A lot of these storms, even what we had earlier, even when they try to kind of cycle up, come very close to tornadic activity, they became fairly outflow dominant. They weren't really able to withstand the updrafts, and so they started to develop downdrafts. I know that sounds kind of basic, but these little lines you're seeing right here, that's a little bit of an outflow boundary now, even from this storm here. And it's a little bit surprising because we have a lot of dynamics in place, especially with the shear profiles and such, that these storms should be able to sustain themselves. Not saying we want any type of tornadic activity, but this may be some saving grace that this has happened with 2 different storms today, that they're becoming a little more outflow dominant. You're seeing it right there. That's some cooler air coming out from the storm, and even the shape of the storm. The hook that we had a few minutes ago when the tornado warning was first issued, you don't really even see that hook there anymore either. So again, these storms here even becoming just a little more outflow dominant with a little bit of cooler air and kind of stabilizing air right there ahead of it. But hail core moving right through the Loveland area, and again, still an opportunity again for some tornadic activity there, again with that tornado warning there in effect, at least for just about another 4 minutes or so. But I can tell you the structure of the storm, the dynamics within the storm, it's definitely easing down. That doesn't mean don't stay in your tornado safe place until the tornado warning's expired. But that definitely means the kind of overall threat with this storm could be slightly easing down as far as the tornado potential goes. But as far as the large hail, the damaging hail potential, the damaging wind potential, it's still very much there. And in fact, the intense lightning and localized flooding threat is there with this storm as well. This is all, again, heavy rain, and this is embedded hail, basically from Loveland locations to the north, even up through Chattanooga up there as well. So we continue to watch this storm, but again, the structure on it's definitely changing. And again, that's a good thing. We never want tornadic activity in Oklahoma. Again, if we can have thunderstorm activity and get away without tornadic activity, especially in May, we're living right. And I think we may have done that with 2 different storms so far this evening. But again, with that being said, officially the tornado warning still continues, and again, you still definitely need to be in your tornado safe space down there. Mike, Russ, I know you guys are still on the live line there with us. Let's go and take a look at your video. I know you're still kind of down there in the area looking at this storm. Go ahead and give us a live update. Tell us what you guys are seeing down there on that storm.
Yes, William. The wall cloud has kind of fallen apart at this moment, but we are starting to see it kind of, it looks like it's trying to reorganize itself a little bit here So we're still watching it very heavily here. In fact, you've got it on the live shot there. It's very scraggly, but it's still trying to come back together. The rotation's trying to tighten back up, it looks like. We're still seeing a rising motion in it. So again, even though the intensity may have come down here, again, don't take it lightly, because this thing, it could still ramp back up. That is definitely my concern, William, as we're sitting here watching it. But again, we're seeing a lot of rising motion still going into the storm on the backside here. And another thing I'd like to note is, as we come through your area, we're seeing torrential rainfall. Frederick looked like they had rivers going down the side streets there. So again, a lot of rain. I know they've been producing at least golf-ball-sized hail. We were definitely in that earlier. So again, these storms are still active, even though they may look like they're going down in intensity. Please don't take that too lightly, because they can come right back up.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Mike. Really appreciate that update. I was just looking over some storm reports coming in here as well while you were talking, and we had some 70-plus mile-per-hour winds reported with that storm down there as well. Looks like those are just now coming in as well. So still a mean storm. Possibly the tornadic potential is coming down just slightly, but the one thing we got to watch still with this storm, folks, and again, as we just kind of look at the structure of these storms, that's the one thing we're always looking at, is the structure on radar. Even though the one hook basically, I think, occluded, got kind of what we call wrapped back up into the storm. This is still kind of the parent supercell here, and this is kind of the area of spin down through here. And so even though the structure's kind of changed a little bit, again, here in Oklahoma, if you're not used to Oklahoma severe weather, when we get supercells, they cycle up, they cycle down, they kind of morph. Our weather here is just a little bit different in other parts of the country, some of the storms they get there. So it wouldn't be completely untypical, if you will, for, again, that storm to kind of occlude, wrap up in itself, and then we have a new area of rotation that sometimes can be even stronger, again, redeveloped there on the southern side. So exactly what's happening right in here with this little hook right in there, that's what we got to watch here, again, over the next few minutes or so. So right now what we're doing is we're just waiting to see what the Weather Service is going to do with that tornado warning. I think they're going to let that expire, that tornado warning expire, but we'll see what they decide to go ahead and do. They are going to continue, it looks like, with a severe thunderstorm warning on that storm. But again, as we kind of widen the view on out here, again, you can still see this is still quite a bona fide supercell. And again, even though the hook, again, it did kind of wrap in on itself and occlude, and again, the tornado warning just dropped off there. Even though the hook basically wrapped up in itself and occluded, again, just looking at the structure of this storm, when you think of Oklahoma supercells, this is fairly classic, right? You have the heavy rain, the hail core all up in here, and then you have the hook coming around on the bottom. So we still kind of got that structure. It kind of morphed for a minute, right? It kind of elongated and you didn't really have that structure, but now kind of that area of spin, it's kind of separating itself again. And again, we have the heavy rain, hail core to the north. And again, there's that area of spin, the hook kind of redeveloping right through there. So again, even though the tornado warning, they are letting it expire right now, again, this is still a storm we got to track very carefully. All the storms in the state right now, we've got some big time hailstorms. Yeah, we're worried about those. There's no doubt about that. But again, with at least the tornado potential, still with this storm, we still got to continue to track that storm again down there and across portions of Tillman County, and again, even track the structure of that storm as well. So real quickly, Mike, I know it looks like you guys, I think you just kind of made a turn there and we're getting a better view of that storm. Real quickly here, go ahead and give us another update on that storm.
Yes, William, we're on it right now. We're on the backside of it, and we are watching the log cloud. It has been starting to come back together very impressively. We've got the camera kind of zoomed in. Speaking of the wipers, I think it got something away. And we're still watching this wall cloud at Sam. It's kind of falling apart. It's still a living, breathing thing, William. The wall cloud comes together and then it kind of falls apart again, and then it comes back together. Just a minute ago, this thing had a very impressive wall cloud again, and it was coming back towards the ground. it's kind of scraggled back up, but there's still a lot of rising motion into
Hey,
it.
Mike, Mike Russ, let me tell you this. Hey, Mike Russ, let me tell you this. Mike, this is definitely coming back up here. So looking at the velocities, we're getting a little bit of separation now from that radar sight. We're kind of getting a better look inside the storm, if you will. And this storm still has some very vigorous mid-level rotation. And again, that wall cloud you're looking at right there, so we've got a rain-free base is what it looks like. They're really having to zoom in on this, but it looks like we have a large rain-free base. And so it looks like we do have a bit of a wall cloud. Mike, this is coming back up here. So we've got to watch this pretty carefully now. And you guys are right there in range and in view. And again, you can basically see the inflow coming in from this side over here. There's almost a little bit of a tail cloud there. So here's the inflow coming into the storm. And again, this is what we're watching right in here, Mike. And I tell you what, this thing has cycled up just a little bit as I was looking at the velocities here over about the last 5 minutes or so. So you guys are in perfect position there. So again, even though the tornado warning's expired, folks, you know, this is still a storm to definitely watch down there. The velocities are still, at least there's a new tornado warning. There it is. They just reissued it. Yeah, that storm's coming back up, Mike. I can absolutely tell you. So brand new tornado warning down there. And we're going to stick with your shot. Mike, that storm is, let me go kind of back this out here. Mike, go ahead and give us an update with what you're seeing down there. Hey, Mike, are you still on the live line?
Yes, William.
Go ahead and give us an update, because it looks like from here, as I kind of back this on out, it really looks like this storm, the velocities are coming back up. What are you seeing on that storm?
Again, we're still seeing a lot of motion to it. It looks like our walk-out may have jumped a little bit. But it definitely still has a rain-free base on it. It becomes scraggly for a minute, and then it comes back, William.
Mike, to me, it looks like it's working its way down. Mike, it looks like it's working its way down to me. I think we're getting fairly close to some type of tornadic activity here, unfortunately. I'm looking at velocities. I think it's working its way on down. And even our mesocyclone rate product here, I know this looks a little weird. We're just kind of having to look at the pixels here. But we're getting some pixel indications here that I think it's trying to work its way on down. And I mean, you guys are right on that storm. And we really got to watch what's happening here with this storm. Because, I mean, like I said, from here, looking at the velocities, it looks like it's trying to work its way on down, like literally like right now. It's happening. So this is what happens. These storms cycle up, cycle down, and like I said, sometimes when they cycle back around, they come back stronger, and I think that's what's happened right now. I think that's what we're seeing, Mike. But go ahead. You're still looking at that storm. Your eyes on the ground there. Go ahead and give us an update.
Yes, William. We definitely have a rain-free base, or wall cloud. It's just out of frame of the camera. I can't adjust the camera anymore to it. But it's definitely tightening up. It's trying to get it back together, William. That is for sure.
Okay, so folks, let me tell you this right now. So yeah, the velocities continue to come up. I mean, the last tornado warning we had, we kind of watched it. We were looking at products on radar. You know, we had the team of trackers there. It was a tornado warning. It wasn't super ominous at the time. This is getting a little more ominous. I think this here is going to try and produce. I think it's going to try and happen fairly quickly here. And again, so tornado warning, this is in effect now. And let's go and take a look at some of these rural communities. Again, right now it's over a fairly rural part of portions of southwestern Oklahoma. But Cookietown, Highway 277, and even back over through Highway 5. Again, we're talking about portions of Cotton and Tillman County, primarily moving in to Cotton County now. Folks, I tell you what, if you live in those areas, especially that Highway 5 going out to Walters, even at the 277 junction all the way down to Cookietown, folks, I tell you right now, take your immediate tornado precautions. Don't mess around with this storm. There's a possibility still, again, of some medium-type tornadoes today. This storm is really wrapped up. Even look at the curvature here at the bottom of this storm. This storm, okay, this one means business. And Mike, are you able to actually see the wall cloud and the base of that storm? Are you visually able to look at it? I know we see your video, but are you able, with your eyes, able to see the actual base of that storm?
Yes, William, I can definitely see it.
So if there was something on the ground, you could tell us 100% for sure right now?
There is a wall cloud for sure.
Okay, but you could tell us right now pretty much with 100% certainty there's not something on the ground right this second?
Not that we're seeing, William.
Okay. But
Not
again,
at
folks,
this time.
we're going to kind of continue to take this one second by second. But again, this tornado warning a little bit different than the last one. Yeah, the last one was a tornado warning. We took our tornado precautions. You know, we kind of watched it on radar, watched the video. This one, it does look a little more ominous. This is a fairly intense area now of low-level rotation. I've got a fairly decent lock on it here. And again, even with that new scan coming in there, you see the hook basically continue to expand, get bigger. The rotation's getting stronger. And again, it's at least right now in a fairly rural part of Cotton County. But again, Highway 5 to that 277 junction all the way over to Cookietown. Folks, I'm telling you, if you have friends, family, loved ones who live in that part of the state, call them, text them right now, and tell them to take their immediate tornado precautions. This time, I don't think we need to take this one pretty serious. I really think so. Mike, we're still looking at your video. And again, we're just kind of taking it as it comes in here. But again, kind of describe, because it looks like the main area of concern is just off to the left of your video, right? So we're kind of looking kind of at the base here, the main wall clouds over here. This is going to be the inflow into the storm, but it's just off screen. We don't want Mike to stop to get a better shot, because I want him to stay in front of this storm. That way, if any type of tornadic activity happens, then he can stop and actually shoot back into it. Right now, he doesn't need to stop. But Mike, as you're kind of looking at it there just with your eyes, and you're kind of giving us a visual, what are you seeing with this storm right now?
Yes, we're still seeing a wall cloud on it. Not a really good advantage for me, because it's going to darken up out here. We're not at a really good advantage to see what were those looking at the bottom of this wall cloud. We're not seeing any funnel clouds or anything like that at this time. However, we're about to cut back to the east and be able to provide a much better shot and stay on this storm, William. But definitely, if you guys are in the path of this storm, please definitely watch what's going on, heed the warning, get to your safe spots. I mean, it's a very serious storm.
Okay, folks, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, folks. If you live out there on Highway 5, basically from Highway 5 to 277, all the way out there to the junction, that's going to be, at least over the next 5 to 10 minutes, that's going to be the immediate tornado concern. Basically, it's going to be that Highway 5 to 277. It includes Cookietown and all the way out towards Walters. Walters, again, some of these are, fairly rural communities. We get that at southwestern Oklahoma. Walters just a little bit larger of a town out there. But again, for our friends and loved ones that live out there, because we all have friends and loved ones that, could live in that part of the state, they need to be taking their tornado precautions. And again, the other thing, to just remember is sometimes in some of those rural areas down there, they may not have tornado sirens. They may not be plugged into the weather tonight for whatever reason. So you may want to call, you may want to text them and let them know right now. Again, they need to be taking those tornado precautions. It looks like this storm right here, it looks like it's going to try and produce something. Again, the tornado warning we had 30 minutes ago, yes, it was a tornado warning. We monitored it on radar carefully. At the time, didn't really look like it was super close to tornado genesis. This one looks like it could be a little bit closer. It looks like it's trying to happen still right now. Mike, it looks like your video, I can't tell, it looks like your video may be locked up. I can't tell if it's moving. I know you're down there. I know it's fairly rural, so it's going to be a little intermittent. I get it. But if you can, give us an update again on the live line. I know you're looking at the storm. And again, it looks like your video stalled. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that. But also go ahead and give us another kind of play-by-play with this storm. And again, tell us exactly what you guys are seeing down there. And it looks like we just got your video back up, Mike. I don't know if we lost you off the live line there momentarily, but your video is back up. But let me know if you're still on the live line with us. Okay, so we're gonna get back to Mike Russ coming up here in just a second. He may have been working on the video there. They're still tracking eastbound on this storm, but again, tornado warning continues. This is primarily going to be for Cotton County now, and again, this is going to be until 9 p.m. this evening. Mike Russ, our lead storm tracker, he's on this storm. That's his video there. Mike and Jesse on the right-hand side of the screen, and again, we're also looking at live radar here on the left-hand side of your screen. And again, right now, at least so far this evening, this storm right here, this has at least been as tightly wrapped, so to speak, as they've been in Oklahoma. Now, we've had some tornadic activity down in North Texas. That was earlier in the afternoon, but really as we've gone through the evening, this is really only our second tornado warning, which of course is good. We'd prefer not to have any, but only our second tornado warning of the evening. And again, it's basically the same storm. And right now, the area of rotation, the area of spin is definitely a little bit stronger than the last time we had a tornado warning on this storm. So we're still looking at the video there on the right-hand side of the screen. It still might be a little in and out. But Mike, if you're still on the live line with us, go ahead. I think you're still there with us. Go ahead and give us an update. You've got eyes on the storm, and tell us what you guys are seeing down there.
Yes, Liam, we did.
Go ahead.
Northeast on Highway 70 right now, which puts us towards the Grainsville area right now.
Mike, we're going to kind of stick with you. I know it's rural down there. You guys are doing the best you can, trying to get your audio in and out down there. So we're just going to kind of stick with it, folks. I know if it maybe sounds a little scratchy, we just got to deal with it tonight. They're in rural parts of Oklahoma, and again, they're trying to continue to track this storm. So the audio will be a little bit in and out. And we apologize for that, but that's just part of the deal. So this storm, besides the tornado potential, the other thing I want to underscore real quick here is also the hail core with this storm as well. It's going to be just east of Chattanooga, and this has got a big hail core with it. And when you're seeing that pink going to white, going to gray, we call that off scale. There's no more colors left on the radar. And we've had, some of these storms tonight, they've had the history of producing some golf ball size hail. I think this easily could be producing golf ball plus size hail. And again, that's basically going to be just east of Chattanooga. And again, that's in general going to be tracking to the east towards Highway 277. Also Faxon heads up down there in Faxon. Again, you can also see some large hail with this storm as well. But keep in mind, golf ball plus size hail, that's extremely damaging, not only to your property, not only to your car, but that can blow out windows. You get some of these 70 plus mile per hour winds. We've already had reports of that with this storm. You get 70 plus mile per hour winds, golf ball size hail, that will blow out windows. So you definitely want to make sure you're staying away from your windows down there in Cotton County as well. But again, at least the tornadic concern with this storm, it's basically on Highway 5 all the way to the 277 junction. It is going to include Cookietown and even really as far east as Walters. Walters, you folks officially aren't in the tornado warning, but in general, the motion of the storm is towards Walters. So if I lived in Walters, I'd still be staying extra weather aware and possibly even ready to go to my tornado safe space again here fairly quickly as well. So our team of trackers, they're down there. Again, their audio, their video, it's just a little intermittent only because it's fairly rural. I don't know that we actually have anything on the ground right this second, but I can tell you, compared to the tornado warning we had just a few minutes ago, at least the rotation within this storm right now at this point in time, it is a little more vigorous, especially at the mid-levels. The low-level rotation has come down some, and even our mesocyclone rate product here is coming down just a little bit as well. And as I'm looking kind of at the red and green mode here, what we call velocities, I'm moving the radar beam up with height. So I'm kind of looking up through height here, and again, we're getting more of a vigorous spin the higher I go, but then as I kind of come back down a little bit closer to the surface, we still have at least a broad area of spin, but nothing that's super tight right this second. So the area of spin is maybe easing down just slightly with this storm, and again, the same right there on our mesocyclone rate product as well. But again, regardless, a tornado warning is in effect primarily now just for Cotton County. And again, that's in effect until 9 p.m. this evening. Again, our team of trackers, they're down there on it. If you're just now joining us here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, again, going on 8:45 this evening, you'll kind of have to forgive their video. It's a little in and out. They're in a fairly rural part of Oklahoma. And again, our lead storm tracker, Mike, Russ, and also Jesse, they're down there. I think they just dropped off the live line, but they'll be back with us here in just a second. So we're covering that tornado warning, southwestern Oklahoma. The other thing I want to talk about quickly here as well, we have two other hail storms, and if you live in the Oklahoma City metro, you're probably hearing this one now approaching on the western sides of town. And again, basically from Bethany back through Yukon, all the way back down now just to the east of Union City, approaching the Mustang area. This is a hailstorm. There's going to be an opportunity for some $half, maybe even some ping pong ball size hail with this storm. So again, this one means business as well. And again, keep in mind, once you start getting up into that $half, even ping pong ball size hail, again, that will do some damage. So if you live on the western sides of the metro, heads up. If you can get your car in the garage real quick, do it. But again, you don't want to be caught outside. These storms are electrically active. There's a lot of lightning with these storms. Do what you need to do to protect your property, but really don't get outside. And again, also stay away from windows, even here in the Oklahoma City metro as well. Winds may gust over 70 miles per hour, again with that hail, and again with that intense lightning, localized flooding threat with that activity as well. So let's go and move on down the line here. And as we move into portions of, really this is moving in now to western Grady County. This is another hailstorm here. This is going to be just to the north and just to the west there of the Bailey Turnpike. And as we take a look at the hail core tracker here, it looks like the hail sizes with this storm have actually come down some. This storm earlier, I think, was producing ping pong to maybe golf ball size hail back when it was just north of Apache. I think the hail sizes here have come down just slightly, but again, there's still an opportunity for some $half plus size hail. In general, that's going to be tracking right towards Norge, Ninnekah, Chickasha, and again, the Bailey Turnpike there. So you folks in that area, heads up. Intense lightning, heavy rain, but again, also that hail threat with that storm right there. So again, heads up for our friends there in Grady County. Then as we walk the line further down to the south, we pick up basically in our embedded supercell down here, large hail potential, damaging wind potential, heavy rain potential, and again, obviously some type of a tornadic potential here with this storm as well. Tornado warning continues basically for Cotton County now. That's in effect until 9 p.m. this evening. The rotation on this storm came up fairly quickly. There was a tornado warning on this storm in Tillman County. It kind of eased on down. The tornado warning expired, and about 5 minutes later, the rotation dramatically came up quite quickly. And again, the storm kind of cycled back up. Another tornado warning was issued. It looked like the storm was basically on the brink, kind of on the cusp, if you will, producing some type of tornadic activity. Our storm trackers, they're down there on it. We've just lost their audio here temporarily. But again, they have not reported an actual tornado with this storm. So that would be great, again, if we can get through the evening without any type of tornadic activity. But again, this storm was at the absolute brink of producing some type of tornadic activity probably 10 minutes ago. And again, a tornado warning still continues basically from Cookietown, Highway 5, 277 Junction, and then really as far east as Walters. Walters, you folks are officially not in the tornado warning, but again, this is a supercell with the hook basically heading in your direction. So again, if I lived in the Walters area, again, I would really still be on guard, paying extra special weather, staying extra weather aware is what I'm trying to say, again, with this storm. So let's go and check our team of trackers. Looks like they're still off the live line, at least momentarily right now. We'll still be checking back in with them. But again, right now, even on our other way of communicating here, it looks like they're still not seeing necessarily any type of tornadic activity on the ground. But again, with that being said, that doesn't mean take the storm any lighter. Of course, with that tornado warning, they're in effect until 9 p.m. this evening, again, primarily for Cotton County. And again, basically from Cookietown, it looks like the area of spin may stay just north of Cookietown, but it's still really that Highway 5, 277 Junction area there. Again, fairly rural part of Cotton County. But again, if you have friends, family, loved ones that live in that part of the state, you know, give them a call, give them a text, let them know. You know, sometimes in rural Oklahoma, we hear this all the time, that again, people don't always have a great way of getting weather information. They may not live in an area that have tornado sirens, you know, so it never hurts to, you know, call, text them, you know, while they have 5-10 minutes to make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing and getting to their tornado safe space down there in southwestern Oklahoma. So we're continuing to kind of monitor the video there. Again, it's a little in and out. You know, like I said, folks, you just kind of have to bear with us on that. When you get out there kind of in the middle of, you know, kind of nowhere, you have a lot of rural area space out there. And again, the cell phone signal kind of drops on down, and that's kind of what we're dealing with down there. But again, as soon as Mike is back on the line, we'll talk to him. But again, it doesn't look like he's sent me any kind of information indicating that they're seeing any type of tornadic activity with that storm right now. Of course, which would be good, but again, regardless, that tornado warning does continue with that storm. Outside of that, large hail potential is also, again, quite possible with this storm. And again, as we're taking a look at the hail core tracker there, again, we're seeing the kind of the hot blues there going to yellows. At least still an opportunity for some $half to possibly even some ping pong ball size hail, again, with that storm as well. So again, outside of the tornado threat, large hail damaging hail threats with that storm there as well. So let's go and kind of widen out the view here. And if you don't know where we're talking about, you're maybe not as familiar with geography in Oklahoma, let's just go and kind of widen out the view. and take a look at everything as a whole here. And we're going to kind of break away from the double box there. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of take a look at everything as a whole. This is what's going on, kind of a rundown here. So Oklahoma City, Oklahoma County, right up here over the logo. And again, severe thunderstorm warning there. That's going to be primarily for a hailstorm. We'll take a closer look at that again in just a second. It is moving in on the western sides of the metro. Again, $50 plus size hail, winds over 70 miles per hour, localized flooding, intense lightning threat, again with that storm right there. Then we also have another hailstorm basically in Caddo County moving into Grady County. The hail core is eased down some. You see that area black right there by Apache. This was probably 30 minutes ago. That was probably some golf ball size hail. You see it right there. Boom. See that black? That was probably golf ball size hail. So that's eased down some now as it's tracking towards Chickasha. $50, ping pong balls, still probably possible with that storm. Winds over 70 miles per hour, intense lightning, heavy rain threat with that. And then as we move just a little bit further on down to the south here, again, that's where we pick up on that tornado warning down there in southwestern Oklahoma. And again, that's also where our team of trackers are this evening as well. But again, this storm right here, again, heavy rain, hail threat, lightning threat, and again, right there on the very end where the hook's coming around, you see it coming around right there, that's where that tornado warning is in effect. There's Walters. Again, Walters officially not in the tornado warning, but if I lived in Walters, I'm staying extra weather aware. And also for our friends in Lawton, lots of heavy rain moving into Lawton. And of course, we know down in Lawton, you folks down there are definitely susceptible to some localized street flooding. We see it all the time down there. And again, with all the, you kind of see that heavy amount of rain coming on in, that could be quite likely there in the Lawton area. And also some severe hail possible, $50 possible, even right there in the Lawton, Fort Sill area down there in southwestern Oklahoma. So let me go and move the radar a little bit further up to the north. We'll take a look in the Lawton area here as well. And I want to go and kind of zoom on into the Oklahoma City metro. And again, the severe thunderstorm warning still continues here as well. And again, that opportunity for some $50 plus size hail, winds over 70 miles per hour. Again, quite possible. Bethany, Yukon, again, all the way down through the Mustang area, but also from Piedmont all the way back up now to the western sides of Edmond. That's going to be really a wall of heavy rain coming on in there. Again, fairly intense lightning there. And again, still possibly even some small hail, even in the Edmond area. So again, on the western sides of the metro, again, definite heads up. Again, there could be some severe hail basically from Northwest Highway, Bethany, Yukon, all the way down through Mustang. That's where the main hail core there is going to be. But again, outside of that, heavy rain, intense lightning threat, even on the northern sides of the metro. So let's go and move this on down, and we'll just kind of walk the line here. And again, there's our other severe storm, again, right there in Grady County, basically now. This was the storm that I think was probably producing some golf balls north of Apache. The hail core has eased down some now with that storm. We're probably down to $50. That's going to be coming into Ninnekah, Chickasha. If it holds together, that may try and make a run at Blanchard, Kreiner, even Norman, Noble, Slaughterville, Purcell, down here in Cleveland County. And then we pick up on this other activity here right around the Lawton area. And again, heavy rain, again, at least still an opportunity again for some $50 plus size hail around the Lawton area. So definitely don't be caught off guard, especially on the southern sides of town down towards Geronimo. Again, a definite heads up there, hailstorms. And then we still continue with this tornado warning down here in Cotton County. And again, it looks like right now, let's go and kind of loop the radar here. What I'm going to do, I'm kind of going to walk a few steps here on the radar. And we're going to kind of look at this hook and the structure. And again, you can kind of see it was wrapped up fairly nicely there. And again, it looked like it was going to try and produce some type of tornadic activity. And it looks like now it's kind of wrapping up in on itself. It's kind of what we call occluding, where that hook is basically kind of winding up in on itself. And again, a lot of times in Oklahoma this happens. It's storm basically cycling. And again, a lot of times these can wrap right up in on themselves. And then another hook can basically wrap right back down and they re-intensify. So that might be what's happening here. It's occluding. One hook is kind of wrapping up into the storm. And then we might have another hook that just kind of wraps right back on down on the back side of it. Not saying for sure that's what's happening, but again, we're going to track it. This storm has cycled up and down. It's had a history of cycling up and down, and that's what we've seen with it. But again, with this hook kind of occluding and wrapping back up in it, at least at this very second in time, that could be at least some good news, again, with that tornado potential. But again, regardless, that tornado warning continues until 9 p.m. Again, Highway 5, 277, there's the junction. Walters being right back over in here, just outside of the tornado warning. So again, fairly rural area through here. But again, regardless, we're still tracking that tornado warning there, again, until 9 p.m. So what I want to do, our team of trackers are still not on the live line. I was just checking there as well. They're just still catching back up with this storm. It looks like they're just on the back side of it. They'll be catching back up with it, and again, we'll be talking with them again here in just a second. But what I want to do, I still want to kind of stick with this here for just about 5 more minutes. I want to see what the Weather Service does if they decide to extend that warning, the tornado warning, or if they let it lapse. So we're just going to kind of continue to stick with this. If it seems like it's a little repetitive for you, again, for the folks that live down in this part of the state, again, keep in mind this is important information for them. So we're going to kind of focus on this storm, but we will talk about those other hail-producing storms there in Grady County, and again, also what's happening there on the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro, again, with the hailstorms in that part of the state. Let's go and take a look at some velocities within this storm, and we'll kind of take a look at the wind flow here. And again, still fairly broad circulation. I can tell you this storm, it really wrapped up. And what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of moving the radar beam around with height. I'm kind of moving it up here. And so we're still getting at least some broad areas of spin with the storm, but at the lower levels, the area of spin, it's kind of easing down some. It's kind of breathing out, kind of exhaling here just a little bit. It had really wrapped up probably about maybe 20 minutes ago, right when this tornado warning was reissued. It looked like it was on the cusp of trying to produce some type of tornadic activity. This has been kind of a long-lived supercell that started in North Texas, down around the Quanah, Texas area, and it's basically had a hook on it the entire night. And our team of trackers have basically tracked it out of Quanah, Texas, all the way into portions of southwestern Oklahoma now. And again, they've been on it. There's their video, but again, unfortunately, like I said, right now I think their video is just kind of stalled out. They're kind of in between signal, so to speak. So as soon as they kind of get back within range of some signal, their video will pop right back up, and of course we'll get them right back on the live line. And again, we'll be able to talk with them as well. So let's go kind of widen out the view here. And again, we'll just wait another 3 minutes here. It looks like the Weather Service is going to let that warning expire. We'll see what they decide to do. Now, the good news up here in the Oklahoma City Metro, that severe thunderstorm warning's been allowed to expire. So for the Oklahoma City Metro, no longer a severe storm on the western sides of the metro. Still localized heavy rain, intense lightning threats, small hail, maybe dime-size hail could still be quite possible. And again, winds to 55 miles per hour, also quite possible as well. So again, even though officially the warning has expired, the storm has come down maybe half a notch. So again, still small hail, gusty winds, and again, intense lightning threats still on the western sides of the metro from Edmond, Piedmont, Yukon, Bethany, the Village, and again, even approaching downtown Oklahoma City here fairly quickly as well. So again, non-severe, but still quite what we would call quite a heavy storm. And then down across portions of really Grady County here, Chickasha, Norge, Ninnekah, Agram. And this has got a little bit of a bow feature now, folks. This storm down here, this has been a big-time hailstorm, but it's got a little bit of a bow now. And this is what I'm talking about, this little bow feature right here. This sometimes can be indicative of some high velocity straight line winds. We could easily, and we've had some 80 mile per hour plus wind reports as we've gone through the evening. And this storm right here, especially in Ninnekah, all the way down there through Agram, folks, heads up on that. Even Alex over there as well, that could easily be bowing out now with some 70, 75, maybe even 80 mile per hour winds. So outside of the hail threat, that right there could be a big time wind maker now coming into Grady County. So you folks down there, that's a fairly strong bow echo. That could easily be 80, 85 mile per hour winds. So you folks right there along Highway 81, just to the east, heads up. That can knock out some power. We know about that. Of course, that happened across a large portion of Oklahoma, when just 2 weekends ago. So, okay, so they did go ahead and allow that tornado warning to go ahead and expire down here in Cotton County. So again, tornado warning has expired now. Of course, what happened earlier this evening, probably about an hour ago, they let the tornado warning expire, and we were talking to Mike on the live line, and we talked to him for just a few minutes, and I said, Mike, you know what? It looks like the velocities are really skyrocketing again, and there was a brand new tornado warning issued probably within like 5 minutes of the old one being canceled. You can still see it's got the supercell structure. You can still see it's got the hook, and the hook is basically going to be crossing right around 277 here fairly quickly. So for our friends down in that part of the state, that's far northern Cotton County, again, even though officially the tornado warning's been allowed to expire, that definitely does not mean to let your guard down with this storm. Let's go and take another just quick look at this storm with some velocity data here. And as we do it, it's still just got a real broad spin. There's nothing super ominous, but I can tell you the actual structure of the storm. The structure of the storm, it's a little more organized as far as the rotation goes, as far as the way it's kind of balancing out the rotation. This is a look at the mid-levels here. So I moved the radar beam up with height, and at the mid-levels you can kind of see this broad area of spin. It's a little more organized. The area of spin is a little more organized than really the 2 tornado warnings we had with it, especially at the mid-levels. And as we kind of move the radar beam down now with height, now we're looking at basically the ground level, or we're basically looking at, as we take a look at exactly where that is, we're looking at about 1,600 feet off the ground, right there where the cursor is. And again, so right around 1,600 feet off the ground, basically at cloud base there. Again, you can see the area of spin. It's still there. It's still fairly tight, but it's really not very vigorous. The colors aren't very bright, and I know that sounds kind of elementary, but that's basically what you look for there, the brighter reds and the brighter greens. That means the wind velocities are a little bit higher and things like that. And right now, again, we're just not seeing it with the storm. So it's kind of easing on down. But the bottom line, even with this storm, even though the tornado warning's been allowed to expire, again, we still got to take this storm quite serious. So here's what we're going to do, folks. Again, we've been covering a lot of Oklahoma weather this evening. We've been on live for a long time. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to regroup with our team of trackers, and we'll have another live update here in probably about 10 minutes. Keep it here with Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. We'll keep you up to date with the latest live weather information for Oklahoma.